So, dudes, um, so dudes, today I want to talk about Kotaku's article about Ready or Not. This is something that I tweeted about not too long ago. I said I knew this was going to happen. There was just something in the back of my mind that I realized this game's adherence to realism in terms of depicting the actions that are often grisly and off-putting and dark that SWAT guys have to deal with in their line of work is going to be very off-putting to people, and they're going to conflate political arguments to police as an institution to a video game about police. Regardless of whether or not that is the intention of the developers or not, they are going to attribute these arguments and try to read into what the devs are getting at. I'm just gonna relax and talk about this in a very off-the-cuff way that you guys kind of expect from me by now. I just like... It's a video game! I've already read the article. That's why I'm kind of indirectly making my stance on it somewhat known based off of the the snarky way that I'm reacting to it. But like, there's so many individual points here that are being made that are so just strange, just really strange. I'm not sure where the author is trying to go with this. Right out of the gate, I mean, like, this starts off by saying Ready or Not is a tactical horror game. You know, contextually, this opening statement looks very bizarre because it seems to ignore the idea that a realistic game about SWAT operations wouldn't be a horror game. I don't know if people are aware of this. But the circumstances that SWAT officers have to see in their line of work are very grisly and fucked up. Okay, I don't know if you need that to be explained to you, but in case you didn't already know, I'll go ahead and reiterate that for you. If you are going to make a realistic SWAT tactics kind of game, if the goal of the game is to make it as realistic as possible, it is not possible for you to make it clean and not at least somewhat off-putting to certain kinds of individuals, because it would require you to not make the game based in reality, because the reality of this job is that these guys encounter a lot of fucked up shit, and there is no getting around that if you're trying to make a simulator out of it. Now, I personally, this isn't the kind of game for me. I would say the joke I make is that if I wanted to do this kind of shit, milsim games, Arma, stuff like that, I just join the fucking Marines. You know, that's a joke I've made pretty often to people. This isn't, I'm in attack shooters and comp shooters from like the esports competitive gaming perspective. And when I make this joke, I'd rather join the Marines. I'm not disparaging Marines. And I'm not even disparaging cops. And I've been very vocal about what I think games like Rainbow Six Siege should do in terms of approaching the topic of policing, especially in the United States. I have unequivocally advocated for reform about aspects in terms of policing in the United States. Now, of course, I'm aware that saying there are aspects about policing in the United States that should be fixed automatically makes me a communist. Likewise, the idea that a well-functioning law enforcement system is an important aspect of a healthy society, that opinion makes me an alt-righter. And of course, likewise, acknowledging the absurdity of this dichotomy makes me a centrist. Okay, it's important to acknowledge the facts that I like and to actively ignore the facts that I don't like, all right? Because if you bring up those facts that I don't like, that makes you a bad person, okay? That means you're on the other team and you're a bad person. Ready or Not is an admirably tense puzzle game punctuated by twitchy shootouts, but it's also, according to this article, a violent political fantasy. What politics does Ready or Not espouse? What is fantastical about its politics? The article doesn't really explain. The article just kind of says that there's some grisly kind of messed up shit in the game because it's realistic, and that makes it political. And I don't mean political in the sense that, you know, cops are political, duh, right? Obviously. What the article is implying is that Void Interactive, the developers of the game, people who play the game, are adjacent to people on the authoritarian right, for the basis of being interested in this kind of game and trying to make it realistic. Makes you adjacent to evil political ideology in a roundabout way. That's kind of what the article is saying. Fail to execute each encounter according to the proper rules of engagement, and you'll be chastised with failing grades at the end of each level, like a bad score in Dance Dance Revolution. I don't know if the alternative to this, having no score and not being chastised for committing war crimes, is better. I feel like if there was no penalty system for committing war crimes, that would be bad, right? I really don't know what the point of this is. One of the controversial points about Ready or Not, apparently, was that they were committed to adding a school shooting level. Now, me personally, as a business-oriented guy, if I was the project lead for this, I would be like, fuck no. That's way too hot, even for this. But the developers are committed to this artistic idea for the game. Guess what? They can do it if they want. It's their decision. Okay? And again, their insistence on implementing it in the game is not an indictment of their politics or their morality. It's a police simulation, and police have to deal with those kinds of shitty situations sometimes. Once again, this idea that, oh, well, this game has like subject material that I find off-putting. Okay, don't play it. If a game offers something or doesn't offer something, nobody's forcing you to play it. I think Call of Duty Vanguard looks ridiculous. I haven't bought it. Rising Storm 2, Vietnam, for very personal reasons, a very gritty, super hyper-realistic game about combat in Vietnam, very off-putting to me. Not the kind of game I want to play. I don't think the people that want to play it are weird or share certain kinds of political opinions as a default of playing the game. I just personally don't want to play it. It's an incredibly evocative combo, helped in part by detailed sound cues and the eerie ambient drumming of the electronic soundtrack. Ready or Not's realism is effective enough to disturb, but too shallow not to descend into, and this is the part where it gets fucking weird, not to descend into farce or worse, Blue Lives Matter cosplay with fascist overtones and alt-right dog whistles. Anybody who's not from the United States watching this video, I just want to say, I'm sorry. Okay? I'm really sorry that here in the States, we have commandeered the definitions of fascism and communism to anything that happens when the government does the thing that I don't like, or I encounter a thing in life that I find inconvenient. Okay, I'm really sorry. I don't know why the fuck we did this. Like, obviously, it's such a huge reach, right? The implication here is that, I mean, it really is this simple. This is how simple the implication here is being made out to be. You play as a cop in a game that's really gritty and dark and realistic. And the fact that you're playing a cop in a realistic way, that's fascism. It has fascistic overtones. It's Blue Lives Matter cosplay. There's the attribution of a political ideology being placed on the game, realistically depicting cop operations. You know, the devs of American Truck Simulator have sure been real quiet about the guy in Colorado whose brakes failed in his truck. Coincidence? Far Cry 6, Viva la Revolution! oh, you know, there was another guy who said that. What, a coincidence? Like, what? What are we doing, man? Stop. Stop it. It's a video game. It's not real. Amidst these disorienting tonal shifts, which range from the juvenile to the openly racist, I haven't played the game. I don't know what that's talking about. There are incredibly grim moments, like when you come across a child writhing in pain in her pink bedroom, and the guy says, "Wounded civilian clear and prepped for evac," your SWAT officer says in his RoboCop voice. How else do you want him to say it? What do you want him to say? You want him to say, "Oh, gee, what? This is pretty awkward." It's a sim. It's a simulator. You're not attributing a political argument here. You have an issue with the subject matter. That's not the same thing. The reason people found these voice lines in Battlefield cringe was because they don't match the artistic theme and the emotional weight, supposedly, of the situation in Battlefield 2042, where the planet is getting ravaged by climate change, and there's war and destruction across the planet on a daily basis. Like,
oh, you know, I think I pulled something back. I am not overconfident. I'm just better than everyone else. Well. That was fun.
Like, what do you want him to say? What do you want the RoboCop guy to say in a situation with a wounded civilian? What, you want him to drop like a Seinfeld, like Joss Whedon quip? What do you want? Like what is this argument? You want like the Seinfeld music to play in the background? Oh, gee, Kramer, it looks like there's a wounded civilian in the room. Well, he should have got out of the way. I was trying to shoot the bad guy, and he just jumped right out in front of me. We have to rescue the hostage. It's called a rescue. We rescue the hostage. And George is like, I didn't even want to do this. This was your idea. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to sign up for this. Elaine's back at the precinct. Everybody's walking back, and then she's like, what happened to the hostage? What didn't happen to the hostage? You didn't have money for flashbangs, Jerry? I spent my money on the Heckler & Koch G36. It's the most state-of-the-art rifle on the market today. It has one design flaw. The bolts must be closed. There are no female police in the game yet. Have I got the game for you? That hasn't stopped Ready or Die. Get it? From receiving a flood of positive user reviews, praising the game on Steam. Some, no doubt, because they see it in the seeds of a faithful successor to the old SWAT games. Slow, tactical, claustrophobic gunplay that even games like Rainbow Six Siege have mostly abandoned. Oh, if only you knew. If only you knew, you're just at the tip of the iceberg of that argument. So, whoever wrote this article didn't like the game. And of course, there's been some pushback in the comments. The true successor to the SWAT series and truly one of the best experiences of the year. If you don't like tactical shooters, don't play them. No need for an 800-word article. Well put. Here's the reply. I don't like games where power-hungry cops living out their military fantasies of gunning down civilians. The article said that you fail the mission if you shoot civilians. It said, right here. Bad score. You're not supposed to do that. You don't do that, and that's not the point of the game. The point is to save them from doom. I know you find that concept bizarre. Before I wrap up this video, I just want to clarify something about special forces and special forces tactics that SWAT officers commonly employ in parts all over the world. The original people who wrote the book on special forces tactics was an organization called the Special Air Service. And the Special Air Service was a British unit that was designed to be able to combat the Nazis in precise ways that conventional troops could not do. The unit specializes in a number of roles, including counterterrorism, hostage rescue, direct action, and covert reconnaissance. Counterterrorism, hostage rescue. Sound kind of familiar? Because this is where it came from, man. To fight the Nazis, to fight fascists. This is where the book was written. Planning, tactics, objectives, guys in Kevlar with guns. It's fascism. Come on, man. This stuff isn't pretty. It's not supposed to be pretty. If it was made pretty, then it wouldn't be a military simulator game. And it would be a disservice to call it a military simulator game. It's not for me, so I don't play it. No political ideology attached. That's it. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think of Ready or Not? Actually, don't. Don't tell me you like it, or I'm going to ban you. You fascist. I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.